Hello, guys. Welcome back to the She Who Leads podcast. I'm your host, Daniela Varga. And in today's episode, I want to talk about content creation and specifically content creation in a sense of how can it become something that is joyful and useful and a valuable, like truly a perceived value of the business, not something that you feel like you have to drag your feet about and something that is the bane of your existence. Because creating content should be fun. Creating content should work, first of all, and it should also be fun, this whole process. And the two don't really work without each other. So a lot of people don't talk about this, but being able to enjoy the creation process is a very, very big part, plays a very, very big role in how good content can perform. And when you hate the process, when you hate content, when you hate content creation, and you feel like it's like, I don't know, a bad must that you have to do to be able to keep your business afloat, first of all, that will affect how your content is performing. It also affects your day-to-day life because a big chunk of your week will be spent on stuff that you feel like you hate. And we are building a business here that we want to enjoy, that we want to build for a long, long, long time, that we want to enjoy for a long, long, long time, and a business that is satisfying and also sustainable. And you won't be able to build a sustainable and successful business while you are hating a very, very important part of it. Because let's look at the facts. Content creation is important. I'm not saying that that's the only way to build a business, because there's a lot of other ways to get clients and build your business. But in today's age, if you are a person who wants to reach a lot of people, who wants to help a lot of people, who wants to have a big impact, creating content online is a big chunk of that. And creating content online is nothing more than making yourself visible, but there are a lot of ways that we make it mean more about ourselves than what it is. And that's part of the problem why content creation is something that we end up hating. So let's just start, and I already sidelined into this, but let's just start with why do we hate creating content? And there are a multitude of reasons to this, to be honest. Today I brought you three, which I believe are the three most common reasons why people end up hating this part of the business. And when you start to detangle those and start to shift those, they are really having a huge impact on your day-to-day life, on your day-to-day operation of how you are feeling yourself in your business, because that's so freaking important, really, really important. So the first thing is that I see a lot of people do is that they are doing the wrong content form or forcing a wrong platform. And what I mean by that is basically everyone has their own zone of genius, their own way that they can express themselves the best, the way that it comes natural, the way it feels flowy, the way it is not forced, but it can naturally evolve and help you really naturally share all the wisdom and knowledge that you have. Now, what tends to happen is we make ourselves believe that to be able to build a business, we only can do that through a certain type of content, or we can only do that through a certain platform. I really see that a lot with coaches specifically, because a lot of amazing coaches have built businesses and have built communities on social media, specifically Instagram. Like that seems to be the hub for coaches. And a lot of people who start a coaching business and start to build their coaching business assume that because they see a lot of coaches on Instagram, that's the way to connect with people. That's the way to build a community, the only way to build a community. And that's simply not true. Like, there are so many ways to build a community, so many ways to connect with other people. Yes, Instagram is an amazing way, social media is a good way, but there are podcasts, there are blogs, there are publications. You can go for YouTube, you can go for TikTok, you can go for Reddit, you can go for Substack. Like, there's just so many different ways that you can start to express and share. It's amazing. It's crazy. Like, in today's age, there's like no way that you cannot find your community online, because there's just so many different ways to do that. And when you give yourself the permission to not force anything on yourself, but like figure out, okay, so how am I a natural speaker, or am I maybe a natural writer, or am I better with long form? Maybe I'm better with short form. Like, there's just so many different ways we are able to express ourselves, and you are able to express yourself. When you start to figure that out and use that, it will be so much more fun to create content, because you are not forcing yourself to be someone else. Because that's what tends to happen. You are forcing yourself, when you're forcing yourself to go on Instagram and do reels or do stories. Maybe you don't even like to share your day, but you're forcing yourself to do stories because you see other people doing stories and they have like a good following. So you are, you think that you are supposed to do stories to do that, and you hate it. You hate it. It feels forced. It feels like icky in a sense. And that's very much built into the content that you are creating. The feeling that you are creating the content with is instantly built into the content. If you have doubt about the content, that is built in the content. If you feel like the content is not valuable enough, that is built into the content. If you feel like you would rather do something else than doing this, that will be built into the content. And on the other side, people will feel like, oh, this content is actually not so valuable. Oh, this content, I don't know if I want to watch this content or not. Or, oh, I just like swipe over because I just can't be bothered to do this right now, right? So that's a very important piece that you have to understand about creation. And everything that we're creating is coming from us. So whatever frequency you are in, whatever ingredients and identities you embody in that moment will be built in the things that you are creating. This is just how we work. Like, it's basically like you're extending your energy that you currently have to something else, to something physical. And going back, when you are in the frequency of, oh, I hate this, you are building it into the content. So you just cannot win with creating content from a place of hate, because it kind of repels people. It also, again, it's not sustainable. Like, you won't be able to do that for years and years to come, because your ego will say like, hell no, I'm not doing this. Like, and you feel like it won't even work, because to tell the truth, it won't really work, because again, it's coming from the place of not wanting to do this. It goes all the way. So what helps here a lot is really figuring out what is your zone of genius, which we do a lot in my coaching, of figuring out like, oh, okay, so what are the different types of medium that works well with you? What are the different type of mediums that actually are coming from your soul self, what your soul self would choose to do? Because what also plays a role in here is all the imbalances and self-image wounds that we tend to have, and everyone has them. And when you have like blockages around speaking, maybe because you were told to shut up, or you were told to not share your opinion, or when you ask something or try to share your opinion, like people cut into what you were going to say, so you learn that you shouldn't express yourself, right? Because your opinion doesn't really matter. So if you have those types of imbalances, have those types of self-image wounds, something that is actually meant for you, like a type of content that is actually meant for you, maybe a podcast, like your soul self, the original, your core self, your soul self, who you are built to be, would thrive in doing a podcast, really, really thrive. But because you feel like you maybe don't know how to express yourself well, because you may feel like that you are rambling, or you don't make sense, or you cannot like speak in a very flowy or whatever way, like you have all of these blockages that are usually tend to go around the throat chakra, that will actually cut you off from a type of content that would start or like really blow up your business, for example. And I have so many experience with this. Like I was trying to force short form content on myself for so freaking long, and it just didn't work. I hated it. I'm not the type of person who can just like tell something in 1 minute. It's just not who I am. It's really not who I am. Maybe at some point I will get to that point, but I'm just not that type of person. And the minute I stopped forcing short form content on myself and started to lean into what I'm actually very good at, which is long form content, speaking, writing also, I'm very, very good at that. I'm very natural in writing. I'm very natural in speaking. I'm very natural in explaining stuff. Content creation for my business became something that I truly enjoy. And there are other parts that can like block the enjoyment, but it became something that I really enjoy, and it became something that connected me to my audience so much more, because my energy shifted, my energy changed, and the energy I put into my content shifted very, very, very much. So it's so important. Another thing here that tends to make content creation a drag is the thought that you have to produce a lot. And I have so much like experience with that too, because I really believed at some point in my life that I have to, like, if I create more, then I will have more. If I create more content, then I will have more clients. If I create more content, then I will have more revenue. And that's not really the case. So until you crack the code on how to actually create from your value, create from your uniqueness, create from a place of enjoyment, adding to your plate and creating more want to really get you to more people. It will only add to the feeling of, I'm doing so much and I'm still not seeing any results. So why the heck am I doing this even, right? Because with content, it's really, really true that quality is so much more important than quantity. First of all, it will put way less pressure on you when you create, like, I don't know, 1 podcast episode a week. And I've been doing the 2 podcast episodes a week, and it was just like so much more pressure, like just coming up with the extra topics and finding the extra time to edit. And people couldn't even keep up with all of my podcast episodes. Like I got comments that they love my show, but they cannot keep up with the podcast because I just produce so much. So on the other end, like people don't really have that much time to just like go through so much. But when you start to go into this space of, oh, so I will actually do like one thing, but I will do that like so freaking good, that when people see that, they will be like, oh my God, this is the best thing I ever seen. That is so much more valuable on the other side too, because they will then have time to process. And that's what we don't have right now with all this content consumption and like this massive like content creation. Like everyone is creating content, which is again fine, but just so much, it really is hard to keep up. And we have this tendency that we want to keep up, and it just creates this inner resistance, this inner like resentment towards yourself. And I'm talking about the clients you have, that, oh my God, like I cannot even keep up with that, which on the end will make them believe like, if I cannot keep up with the content that she creates, how could I keep up with the program that she does, right? So everything like connects together if you start to see like behind the veil a bit, and creating less but putting more love and joy and attention to that one piece is going to get you so much further. Yes, it would feel like it would take forever. I won't lie with that. But every good business is built on strong foundations. And when you build those strong foundations on how am I actually creating a process, how am I actually creating content, what is my process for creating the best content ever, that when you have that and you then start to scale that, it's so much easier and so much more authentic. So that's also a very big part in why it is hard, because we were made to believe that we have to be on all the platforms. We were made to believe that we had to produce, for example, like that's also for social media, where I see a lot like, I have to post every day because otherwise it just doesn't work. That's not true. That's really not true. I know very super successful coaches, business owners who, first of all, don't even have social media and they still are super successful. And I know people who only post once a week and they are still super successful. And I know people who have a lot of views on their posts and are super successful. I know people who have 200 likes on their posts and they make millions of dollars a year. Numbers in this sense do not matter. Really do not matter. Only our ego attaches meaning to these numbers. And when you can start to detach from these numbers and really focus on what is really important, which we do a lot in the coaching, to build in those ingredients that really do make a change in the content creation, the business building, and everything else, that when the results, the true results, the type of results that are scalable and sustainable can come in. And then you can build on those. So it's very important to just like start to detach from like, more is good, because a lot of the times more is not really good. Like you don't want more problems, right? So more is not always good. And that's also true with content. The third thing, which is kind of a big one here, is, and what makes creating content really not enjoyable, is the fear of not being liked. And I have been talking about this here and there in this podcast, because this is a big one. It really is tainting the whole creation process, because it will put you in a headspace of, I'm not creating something because I'm having fun with it and I want to share this because it would be so good for people to hear this. It puts you in a headspace of, oh, I have to be like politically correct. I have to be sure that I am not hurting anyone's feelings. I have to be sure that people won't cancel me after this. I have to be sure that, ooh, can I say this? Ooh, can I write this? Ooh, can I use this word? Ooh, what would people understand this word? Ooh, if I say this, will I be more trusted, or will they like hate me and then they won't buy from me? So it just brings in all of these doubts, so much doubt. Like this fear is feeding off of doubt, and vice versa. This is feeding the doubt so much that something that was designed, like content creation, how you express yourself, how you connect with people, was designed for you to enjoy, was designed for you to be easy, to be flowy, to be able to really deeply connect with a lot of people through that. And when this fear of not being liked is there, it basically turns into a people pleasing game, like the Hunger Games, like really truly. Like it's not just about, oh, I have these 10 people in my closest circle that I want me to like, that I want them to like me. I have tens of thousands of people, or hundreds of thousands of people, or even millions of people who I want to be liked by. That's crazy. Like, just imagine that there are 100 different people and you have to please all of them. Just imagine the situation. What a mental burden, what a mental toll. You won't even be able to like say a word because you don't even know these people. Like, how the heck will you know like what can you and cannot you say? Like, you will be paralyzed of like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, I cannot say anything. It's just like, oh my god. This will be, and this is the constant state that a lot of people are in who are business owners and doing content, because this fear of not being liked is there. It's there with everyone. Every time the tiniest second that you doubt if I should share this or not, that is coming from the fear of not being liked. If I should write this or not. Ooh, if this is clear enough or not. If this is I don't know. Oh, is this too controversial? That's another thing that usually like a sign that, oh, it's actually the fear of not being liked. So, and on another level, this whole thing like takes away your edge, takes away your very thing that actually could connect you to the perfect people, because your uniqueness, your unique views, your unique opinion is the thing that would help you stand out from all the other people that are doing, I want to say, something similar to you. They can be doing the same thing as you if you're on your soul pole, but they will be seemingly doing something very similar. And when you are rooted in your uniqueness and using that uniqueness in your opinion, in your expression, in everything that you do, that would make you stand out. But the minute you are letting this fear take a control over you and slide into this people pleasing mechanic, your uniqueness will dim. It will vanish basically, because you won't be sharing your own unique opinion. You will share what you think people want to hear. And that's not the same. That's really, really not the same. And that won't resonate with the people you actually are here to connect with. So it has a lot of implications, this whole thing. And these three things like tend to be the three biggest things I really see that people struggle with when it comes to content creation. These are the things that we tackle maybe first and foremost in the coaching process, because when you can start to let go the fear of not being liked, man, that is so much pressure off of you. Like, imagine a life where you can live like, I really don't give a crap about anyone. Like, I really don't care about anyone's opinion. Like, truly don't care. What an amazing life that is. Like, you really, like, that's freedom. Like, really, you can do whatever you want, and you can do that. Like, you can reach that. But until this fear is here and it's there with a lot of people in a high percentage, you are basically not free, because you're still, you don't feel like you won't consciously know it, but you're still living according to others' opinions and rules, and to be liked and to please people, and that's not really fun. And the soul doesn't like that. Like, your soul will tell you to stop in a lot of ways, and some of them will be super painful. So it works to like let it go. You cannot really build a soul pool business while you are full in people pleasing tendencies. Like, it's a process to let that go, but at the end of the day, it's just not really possible, because again, it feeds off of uniqueness. Your business that is built around your soul pool, your soul purpose, it feeds off your uniqueness. And when you're people pleasing, you are shutting down that uniqueness, because that uniqueness would mean that people are not accepting you. That's the connection that we tend to make. That's the connection that the ego tends to make with this. So it really needs to go step by step. It's a very important part of like truly enjoying the content creation and having a successful content creation process. So how you can like start to enjoy it, and I already like shared bits and pieces here and there, but I have like a few more things that I want to add here. The first is, and I will be so unpopular with this, but saying it anyway. So stop using AI to create content. And I was there. I did like the whole content with AI process. And first it seemed super fun. Like, oh my God, I'm so, like, again, it turned into, oh my God, I can create so much content in so little time. And that would mean that I could create even more content, which kind of refers back to the thing that I say, like, why we don't tend to enjoy content creation, because it puts us into this hamster wheel of like more. Now, AI, ChatGPT does this perfectly. It will make you believe that because you are basically shortening the creation process to irrational time frames. Yeah, let's call it time frames. It will make you believe that, because I have all this extra time, I should make something with that extra time. And obviously, the ego won't say like, maybe rest, or like, I don't know, do something else. Then create more content, because if I create more content, I will reach more people. So it just puts you in this hamster wheel of more. And the other thing that AI does, that it detaches you from what you create. Because at the end of the day, it won't be really you who created that content. Even if you like wrote the prompt and like fine-tuned it and like fine-tuned the whole thing, it just wasn't really coming from you. Or in a sense, you won't really feel like it is coming from you. Like, at the back of your mind, it will always be like this little voice of, but this is made by a machine, it's not really me. Like, you won't feel it as valuable. It will be very, very, very hard to connect to the value of that content and see it as valuable and connect it to your own value, because there's a disconnect here. There's a third party who is not even a person, but a machine, and it created it for you. Like, maybe it came up with the idea. So your identity of, I'm actually super creative, already is wounded with this, right? Another thing that AI does, which is super harmful also, it will make you super lazy. And it did this to me. Like, I got onto the hamster wheel of creating more. Then I got into the hamster wheel of being lazy, and I didn't even like outline my podcast episodes. This was with my Hungarian business. I didn't even outline my podcast episode. I just like let like AI come up with the topic, outline the whole thing, and I just like said something from that. And the whole like recording process, it felt like so forced and so like foreign, which is super interesting, because I truly love recording podcasts. Like, I really love creating podcast episodes. And it began something that I started to dread. And I didn't really understand why. Like, it, on paper, it was supposed to be something that I enjoy, because it was like, I don't know, like half an hour or 1 hour where I just like yap on about stuff that I actually like to yap on about. But it wasn't. It was forced. It was like, but I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to tell about this. Like, it was, again, like, ChatGPT was puzzling pieces together from here and there, and it wasn't really coming from my way of thinking. It wasn't really coming from my expertise or my experiences. It was coming from other people, and I tried it to mold myself, my way of thinking, into something that ChatGPT thought was a good way to talk about this topic. And I really started to hate everything that I was doing. Like the writing, I started to hate writing. I started to hate sending emails. I really like started to hate the whole thing. And what helped me is really like truly stopping the whole ChatGPT thing and starting to create from scratch on my own again. And I have to tell you, that was the best decision I ever made about my business, because it brought back the joy. It taught me so much about how I like to create. It taught me so much about the different fears and the different imbalances that I have about creation, which again, we go into the coaching process, because that's a very, very important part of uh, finding the best way to connect with your ideal audience. And it helped me just like find actually all the little bits and pieces that I truly love in the creation process. And it helped me let go so many of my fears and so many of my self-image wounds, just because I started to create again on my own from scratch. It's crazy. Like, just alone this one thing that I did transformed my relationship with content creation, I think forever. So I even came up with my whole content creation process, which like the energetics of it and everything, like I'm testing that and like experimenting with that is just so freaking cool, which I then now able to, when it's ready, like I will be able to teach that to people and help them like really truly create content that is extremely magnetic. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, like it really, really helps you transform your relationship with content when you stop using AI. The other thing that I stopped doing, and I also see like propose for you to do, again, I cannot force you to do anything, but it really worked wonders for me, is to stop checking the numbers. And this is so important. We don't even realize how much expectation we have from one single piece of content to bring clients and to go viral and have this many views and have this many signups from it. And like, we are full of expectations with content creation, and nothing kills more creativity and joy than expectations. Because when expectations then don't turn out to be true, there's disappointment, there's resentment, and there's dissatisfaction. So one thing you can do with this is really like deliberately stop checking numbers after you are publishing a content, because it really like doesn't matter. And I know I am still working through this myself, but I'm so much more farther than I ever thought I could be, of like, numbers don't matter. It really doesn't matter how many people like your post. It really doesn't matter how many people view your post. The only thing that matters is that those people, those selected how many, are seeing your content, resonating with it or not, and then go to work with you or not. I never, ever, ever liked any of the content of the mentors I worked with. Never, ever. I never left a review. I never left a comment. I never liked anything. I'm just not that type of person. I watched a lot of the things. I followed them. I listened to a lot of the stuff, but I never interacted with them in a sense. So in this sense, likes really doesn't matter because some people just like cannot be bothered to like stuff. And I have filled up coaching programs with a 400 subscriber email list. Like my first coaching program filled up, like really truly to the brick. I sold all of the seats just with having not even 400 people in my email list. And you ask any marketing guru, they will tell you that starting a group coaching program with only 400 people on your email list is basically suicide. And I listened to my intuition. My intuition was telling me, go for it. And it sold out. So it really doesn't matter of the numbers are just there for the ego. The ego is the only one who is latching onto those numbers. And there's so many more important things that you should be focusing on when you are creating the content, which again we go into in the coaching process, because it's just like there's like multiple things. It's just not, a podcast is not enough to talk about all of them. But what you can do right now is start just like post something and deliberately don't look at the numbers, and just like trust that content will actually get to the people that needs to get to. And that's super hard. It won't happen. Don't expect yourself to achieve that the first try, but the more you train yourself to be in that state, the easier it will be to actually be in that state for a long term. And again, there are self-image wounds that come into play here, where you cannot trust. If you connect safety to this whole thing, that also plays a role into this, why it's very hard to trust, and why you have like this like desire to like watch the numbers and have the numbers. Like just a lot of different things go to it, which entangle in the coaching and should be untangled, because if you are not healing those, they will come back over and over and over again, like all your life. But just like test it, just like not check the numbers on your post for like a week or a month, and see the difference in how that makes you feel. And the last one that I want to bring in is an exercise, basically, that is helping you to really like detach from how people will like you or not, or how people will like your content or not. And what you can do is basically create a content with the intention of never ever publishing it ever nowhere, and just like see how that type of creation process feels when you put off the pressure of, oh my god, this has to perform. Just see how different it feels when you create a content from that place, when you really let go your creativity, when you really like let loose of who you are, and just like creating something from the fun, for the fun of it. Just like do one content like this and just see the difference. That's what I'm asking here. And it really is starting to put back the enjoyment in the whole content creation process, and also the success, because that's, again, like these two are very interconnected. So these are your tasks. If you want to dive deeper, if you want to figure out why your content actually is not working, why it is not bringing clients, what is blocking you to maybe reach more people or to have a better engagement, because like engagement matters. Like I'm not saying, not like, again, like with numbers, not all numbers are not bad, but like not all numbers needs to be ignored. Some metrics needs to be ignored because those are just vanity metrics, but some metrics matter. And when you feel like people are not engaging with your content, or anything else can be in there, like leaving mean comments under your content, that's also a reflection. So if you need help with that, if you need help to like figure out, so what could be your content zone of genius, you can book a call to a free clarity call, which is basically a free coaching session with me. And we can dive all into that. We can see like if you are creating for the right platform or not, if you are creating the right type of content or not, what your soul self would choose to create, how your soul self would choose to create, how your soul self would choose to connect with people, your ideal clients. So just like so many amazing things that we can look into intuitively. And we do look into intuitively in the coaching, or I do look into intuitively in the coaching. So if you want a taste of that, you can book a session. You can find the link in the show notes, or the description below. And that's it. That was this episode. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I really hope it puts back the joy a little bit more in your content, because when you again put back the joy into content, it will lead to more people. It will lead to more people coming in, and you becoming more attractive to your actual ideal clients. Yeah, that's my last word here. Okay, thank you so much for being here, and I see you in the next one. Bye.